This is our feature boat for this week, the Fast40 Plus for Niklas Zennstrom RAN 7. This is the Sailing World on Water for July 3, 2020. This week, Louay Habib from the RORC Time Over Distance series talks to Jason Carrington about how he built RAN 7, the Carkeek design for Niklas Zennstrom, the co-inventor of Skype. The design has spawned a lot of boats, including the IMOCAS and the America's Cup boats too. Starting on July 4 from Charlie Dalin in France is the first of the major races as a lead up to this year's Vendee Globe, which starts on the 8th of November. Last week, Sailing Illustrated's Tom Ehman talked to Edith and Peter Harken regarding what is happening with all their new equipment for the America's Cup. From Quantum Sails in Genoa, Vittorio de Albertas gives us a rundown of what's going to happen during the starting procedures of the 36th America's Cup. There's a number of new IMOCA boats for the Vendee Globe starting in November, but we like APIVIA. Now over to Louay and Jason.
Yeah. Well, the first time I saw the hull on this boat, I just thought, I'm in a Doctor Who set, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, RAN 7, Niklas Zennstrom's Fast40. I mean, this was, you know, a real game changer. What was the overall brief? Obviously from Niklas, but also from Sean Carkeek. What was the overall brief for this boat?
Well, I think Niklas was keen to, you know, he's got a house on the Hamble, and I think he was keen to do some sailing closer to home, and also to sail with his mates, you know, and also he's always been good at bringing young people in, and with the Fast40s, you know, there's this split with the amateurs and the pros, so I think he liked the look of it, and you know, Niklas, I'm sure you know, Niklas does things properly, and he's supported with Tim, has been for many years, and they always, you know, and Jan, of course, who was just on here. Yes. They're a very strong team, so they knew what they wanted, but they didn't do anything crazy. They just did it properly, you know. I think it's worth pointing out that, you know, that Fast40 fleet, it's not like the TPs where you've got 11 or 12, you know, very, very even boats, which are all designed to the hilt and then built, you know, to similar levels. I think the Fast40 was kind of rich pickings. A lot of the boats were older. RAN, in many ways, was the first boat built properly to the rule, and she was built like a race boat. You know, she's with IM fibre and female moulded, and she was a lot lighter than the other boats, and of course you mustn't forget that she was very well sailed, you know. So you got Tim on there, Steve, the youngsters were no slouches. They generally, I think it's fair. I mean, I sail with Morty. I think we do a pretty good job, but generally these guys, you know, probably have a slight edge on us. But certainly the boat was super quick. Yeah.
I'm just gonna hone in on it because you mentioned it, not me. So you were full-on crew for Girls on Film, racing against the boat that you built.
That's right. Yeah.
How did that work, Jason?
Well, I kind of knew what was going to happen, but you know, Morty's always very confident, as you know. And the guys were all, you know, oh, we'll be all right, you know. And I remember the first time we lined up with them, or the first start, we started really strong on them. You know, they were to leeward of us, we were bow forward, you know, and they were, oi, we're off. And then slowly just chewed forward and spat us out, and that was it. And by the, you know, quite soon she was marching off to the top mark, and yeah, I mean, it was a lesson in what you can do with when you do it properly. And you know, and it was a team effort. You know, we built the boat, but Jan did a great job. Tim knows what you need to do to put a program together. You know, it was very much a team effort, but a lot of fun. It's always fun working with those guys, and this was no different.
Okay.
And I should say, of course, she was such a special boat to us at Carrington Boats, because it was our first boat. And when Niklas, sort of signed up, Niklas actually signed up to build the boat, gave us a deposit. We didn't even have a yard or any guys to build it, so he was pretty brave.
Yeah, so hands up, I should have said that. This was the first boat built by Carrington Boats at your facility. Not a bad one to get, but
she'll always be very special to us, and everyone that worked on it, we love that little boat. It's cool.
Now, this shot, and by the way, thank you to Alex Irwin from Sportography for the pictures. And here he's captured really well the deck layout, and I'm just going to focus in on that pit area and a couple of details there. Often, Jason, you find yourself in the pit, I know. That's pretty minimalistic.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was, to be fair, the deck layout for RAN was very much a development of Morty's boat, Girls on Film, which I think it's fair to say was pushed by Cheese, Dirk de Ridder, and Morty, who sort of developed it for the previous round. And then Tim and those guys sort of took it on, obviously with Sean and co, with the primaries, different size, moving the pit all the way forward. But it really works. I mean, certainly the boats, the Fast40s are very much, I'm bound to say that because I do the pit for Morty, but they're kind of run from the pit. You have to, the pit man really does have to call the manoeuvres and orchestrate things, if you like. And being so far forward, you can see you're right by the rig, so if things go wrong, you're right there. I mean, I could if we had a bad drop, I could literally just reach forward and grab the chutes. It's a very neat deck layout, and but again, these guys refined it more than took it a step further, if you like.
And here we've got a lovely shot of RAN from the bow. And I think one point I would like to make here is, as you said earlier, this isn't a full-on pro team. In fact, it's not permitted in the class rules. Half of the team have to be amateurs. And Niklas Zennstrom particularly liked that aspect of the rule because it meant he got people on the boat that didn't have grey hair. This is down below on RAN 7, the Fast40. You picked this one out, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. And even with my scant boat knowledge, I came up with rotary drive.
Yeah, so I mean, again, this is the RAN team really were just pushing. I mean, I chose this picture. I like all the composite work, so I was trying to show a bit of that. But the drivetrain on RAN was, I mean, it wasn't like it was a John Williams system, but it was refined. Tim knew he wanted a driven main sheet winch, things like that. It was just a step up from what had been done before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I just think it's magnificent that boats like this are being built to race in the Solent again, because we haven't seen boats like this racing the Solent in numbers for many years.
No, that's right, and it is it's a wonderful class. I think anyone that sails on them will tell you that. They're not too big. You don't run out of water too quickly. RAN is a step up, but it's fantastic racing, and RAN got beaten a few times. It's not unbeatable. So I really hope the class, I think it has suffered a little bit, but I think they always do these after a certain amount of years. But I'm sure it's got legs, and I think anyone that sails these boats loves them.
Mm-hmm. Another shot, attention to detail. We've got a little inset here. I'm just going to zoom in on that. Did you do that, Jason?
I probably did, but I didn't do the difficult bit, which is all the strapping and the nice composite work and the bonding. Okay. That would be the guys, Yeah.
Yeah. But no, fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing us some downstairs images of RAN.
En fait, il y a cet état d'esprit où on se retrouve comme si on sautait en parachute. Ces petits picotements en fait dans le ventre tous les jours qui sont là, mélangés entre la peur, l'adrénaline.
Ça que là, l'année 2020 s'est pas déroulée exactement comme on l'aurait souhaité.
Parce qu'on a toute une organisation qui était prévue à la minute près, de l'arrivée de la Jacques Vabre jusqu'au départ du Vendée Globe.
La classe IMOCA a créé une course pour remplacer les courses qu'on ne pouvait pas faire à cause des frontières fermées. Donc on a trouvé cette solution, le Vendée Arctique les Sables.
On n'a jamais eu l'occasion de monter aussi nord. Donc je pense que ça sera quelque chose d'inconnu pour nous, des bizarres de monter jusqu'en Islande, mais aussi d'excitant en même temps.
C'est une course qui va être assez, je pense, qui va être difficile. Je pense qu'on va arriver fatigué de cette course.
On navigue sur des bateaux qui sont un gros cran au-dessus en termes de vie à bord et d'exigence.
C'est des bateaux qui restent d'une extrême violence.
Des fois, je retrouve les sensations qu'on pouvait avoir sur les multicoques quand ça accélère. C'est-à-dire des bateaux qui s'allègent, plus ils accélèrent, plus ils s'allègent.
On est un peu les pionniers des monocoques qui vont semi-voler autour de la planète.
Bon, il y a une ligne de départ, une ligne d'arrivée, donc forcément t'es toujours un petit peu énervé.
Déjà, après, une fois que je sens les coups des canons et la course est partie, je rentre dans un autre mode.
Il y a toujours des favoris sur une ligne de départ, mais c'est rarement respecté. C'est toujours l'océan finalement qui édicte ses règles. Il y a à la fois cette part d'appréhension et de stress, et en même temps il y a ce sentiment très agréable justement de partir pour écrire une nouvelle histoire dont on ignore encore tout, parce qu'on ne sait pas ce qui va se passer, et on sait à chaque fois en même temps qu'il va se passer plein de choses. Et c'est pour ça que je pars au large, c'est que rien n'est jamais écrit à l'avance.
Last week, Sailing Illustrated's Tom Ehman talked to Edith and Peter Harken regarding what is happening with all their new equipment for the America's Cup.
We're delighted to have Edith and Peter Harken with us today live via Skype. I turn their mic on. They are in Pewaukee. Welcome to both of you.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for having us.
Yep. Thanks, Tom. I remember telling the guys in the very beginning, when you enter the America's Cup, it's like entering the bull ring. You're going to get bloodied, and forget the glory part. Either we enter it that way, or we don't do it at all. Once we're in it, boy, there's no going back. You get in it, and you finish it. But you don't go half-assed.
Having worked with Harken over the last, really 20 years of my sailing career, what you see in Harken is a company that is always on the leading edge of design and development. And so to have that type of forward thinking involved with American Magic puts us in a competitive advantage.
The New York Yacht Club, they sure started this whole America's Cup thing, and here they are, very determined with a hell of a team behind them. I mean, you take Hap Voss and Doug DeVos, that's a pretty powerful group.
While we are a new team, we have a lot of experience inside the team. And so New York Yacht Club American Magic was formed to take advantage of the fact that there is really a new opportunity. Our job was to figure out how to design and develop the fastest AC-75.
The AC really puts the pressure on us to advance, and we'd work through the night in the machine shops or whatever to get this stuff fixed or solved before the boat goes back in the water.
It's the pinnacle of our sports, and so to be on the winning side of that keeps you at the forefront of design and technology.
At the front, Harken, an official supplier to New York Yacht Club's American Magic. Peter, as I said, you're a supplier, as I understand it, to all the other teams as well. What do you see as the big innovations in this cup from your hardware standpoint?
Well, there's not going to be a lot of trickle-down effect. Let's put it that way. When we first entered the cup and got into it, and people asked us, why are we putting so much effort and so on behind this? it's a learning game. We learn how to make better fittings later on, and so on. And there truly was a trickle down effect. The blocks, that got the nickname of Black Magic blocks, and so on. And you could use them on racers and cruisers later on, and so on. But what's going on now? The new stuff. You're going to have to be on another planet to use it, because it's truly not useful in cruising boats and other stuff. It's just way out there. One of the challenges we've been faced with was a traveler. We kind of thought we had travelers put away for quite some time. But the America's Cup, trimming the wing, the speeds that these boats go at, the wing and stuff has to come in and out just constantly and under very high loads. And so the traveler cars are getting really tortured. We can't make the tracks out of aluminum anymore. You don't want to make them out of stainless steel because it's too heavy. Then you kind of got to work with titanium. Yet then comes the car. What do you make the car out of? You can't use aluminum again. The loads are too much. You can't use our balls, our normal balls on it. You can't just go to steel balls and stuff like that. And it just kind of goes on and on. And we've been through a torture program on the Traveler, but we think we got it. Basically, it's, the materials are titanium and then some lubricants, very, very little lubricants, and sort of a design feature in there, and so on.
What is the material? Is it titanium that you've settled on?
Basically titanium and maybe very hard stainless steels or special titanium and special heat treating and etc. So it looks like that we've got it, but then there'll be something else. There's a lot of hydraulics in the boat, so we're doing a lot of special hydraulic cylinders and hydraulic systems and things like that. So just a multitude of stuff.
Well, let's
winches,
talk. Go ahead.
No, the winches are they're special too, but basically they're a winch. It's just that they're much lighter, and we're using ceramics. The materials on them, they got the insides cut out a lot, but there isn't that much in the winches on the boat as it is, but there is some. And then of course there's the blocks for turning the lines and things like that, and there we get into our V blocks and carbon plate type blocks and so on. You kind of go to the nth degree in everything you make, and every gram is really important.
Well, which is what the America's Cup is all about. It's the nth degree of everything, and if the weakest link, whether it's the sandwich maker or the hardware maker or the sailors, it's what causes you to lose.
Yes, especially in these boats. I mean, lightweight is going to be very important for the boat. The boats have got to break the suction of the water, and get up and go. And it's okay once they're going, but you got to keep them up there. And then once they splash, you got to be able to have enough air or have a design which will break the suction of the water as quickly as possible. And weight has got a lot to do with that.
See the full interview on Sailing Illustrated's Facebook page.
Fish tailing start in America's Cup. We have been lucky enough to interview Vasco Vascotto and Francesco Checco Bruni, so the tactician and the helmsman of Luna Rossa, a few days ago. And we have been told quite a bunch of things about the Cup and so on. Something to think about the formula, which will run the races in Auckland. About the pre-start, we will have, as everybody knows, an upwind start, But the formula is that the first boat will be the port tugboat that will cross the line 10 seconds before the starboard tugboat. So it is supposed to be able to cross the other boat easily if nothing special happens. But Checco Bruni said that after this moment, so then you have the first crossing, in theory, with no problems, then the game is quite open. Even in a relatively quick pre-start, then you have a playground to try to make your opponent come down from the foils, which is the most dramatic thing you can force your opponent to do. Okay, the most dramatic, excluding an accident, obviously. Checco was remembering the Bermuda races with Ben Ainsley's accidents in the pre-start. So there is still a chance of a pre-start accident, but then there should be no dial-up situation, not a real dial-up situation, which could cause some problems for this kind of boats. Obviously, they risk damages in this situation. But after this moment, if you can force your opponent to drop down from the foils, then you have a big advantage. Not just because he has to accelerate again and then to jump up on the foils again, which is taking quite a bit of time, but also because of the fact that your acceleration has to be on reaching, as we also that the acceleration of these boats is reaching. So you basically are losing a lot of space to make it to the line. No, so if you were already struggling to make it to the pin in the pre-start, so imagine if you find yourself too early at the start, then your opponent can make you drop down from the foils, and then you need to accelerate again. So provided you have the chance to do it on time, for sure you are losing a lot of space along the line, so you don't have the whole line as it was in Bermuda. No, you have a normal upwind start line. So if you need to go reaching for some seconds to be able to lift yourself on the foils again, then you probably can't make it to the line on time on this tack. So you probably are forced to tack and then to start behind your opponent for sure. So that's a situation that can be really, really tricky. It can make a lot of difference between Bermuda and Auckland. The upwind start is something you can never underestimate as a technical difference from one race to the other. Ciao, thank you.